This is what we call a cultured episode, a man of culture. I was not expecting this prince to be this way, and the fact that in this world where figures really aren't a thing, if you show anyone a very well put together figure, there's bound to be at least one person who will turn into the ultimate weeb and will dissect that figure to the point of worshipping it like it is a god. And oh my god, just like this episode, I was not expecting. Like, I knew Rudy would be okay, but I was assuming that Ruijerd as well as Aerys would come in and storm the castle, which was the original plan. And I know some people were thinking that Rudy could get out of that situation by himself, but no, it was a magic barrier. He couldn't take it down himself. He needed someone to help, though someone in the castle made sense, but more so on the guard side, right? Not a prince who literally almost ripped his brother's head from his shoulders just because his new master, Rudy, he needs to learn from the pro, especially after pointing out the mole and how you could use that as an almost nipple that she couldn't cover. And I'm like, if there's ever been a more natural connection, that right there takes the cake. Now, before we jump into any more of this crazy but honestly perfect episode of MUSHOKU Tensei, we gotta give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is once again Bokksu. We'll do that real quick and we'll get back onto this review because this episode was top tier. Bokksu is a gourmet journey across Japan that every single month you'll receive a unique assortment of Japanese treats and tea pairings straight to your front door. Every month you not only receive a different theme, but with said theme, the snacks inside will be different. Each month you receive a cultural guide that details each item's origins and ingredients, so you don't have to worry about those pesky allergies of what you're eating, so you'll always know where each item came from. All the snacks come from different snack makers across Japan. The quality and shipping is without a doubt some of the best I've experienced next to those larger retailers. And to make it even better, Bokksu makes such a perfect and memorable gift for anyone in your life who appreciates Japanese snacks and culture, especially during a time where people aren't able to travel as easily as they would like. And actually, not only would you be gifting them Bokksu, which is already awesome, but also you would technically be gifting them the chance to win free tickets to Japan, because Bokksu's having a giveaway. They will be picking 5 lucky winners to win a free set of tickets, and anyone who is subscribed before December 31st is automatically entered. I'll include a link in my description so you can check out the terms and conditions and other methods of entry. And if you needed any more reason to love this service even more, each month you're going to find yourself looking for these treats that you get in this wonderful box and trying to hunt them down into a bigger bulk order, as those who you gift a Bokksu subscription will also be doing over the holidays. So do yourself a favor, use my link and coupon code located in the description below, save yourself some money with my 10% discount code on your first Bokksu subscription, while supporting the channel, and soon enough you too will be waiting for that next Bokksu shipment just like I do. Now this episode I really enjoy. Like, literally over half of it was just these two characters interacting, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, when he originally came down, I was expecting him to like want to torture Rudy or something, especially because he was like pointing out like the figure. I thought he was like disgusted by it. You know, false idols like Rudy was originally worried about. But the fact that he was just so enthralled, and they break down, they use this 3D model to spin around the statue and like show every nook and cranny of it, and just to see the level of passion this man has for a statue with no color but can see all the finer details. If this man ever got a taste of what figures in our own world are like in today's like standards, I don't think he would wake back up after passing out and hitting his head, because he would not be able to comprehend that. Though I'm glad that, seemingly, the master-servant relationship between these two might carry on, because I'm very excited to see what someone with that level of power, who can rip skulls off shoulders, but also has this otaku side that just wants to learn how to create amazing, like, statues and whatnot. I think that could be a very interesting relationship and possibly character growth for someone who probably didn't care all too much about things until he really got that passion in life. But just to see the escalation in that conversation, the fact that very early on into them interacting, I was very convinced that Rudy didn't have anything to worry about. If anything, anyone who got in the way of them talking. So I was thinking maybe Aerys would like storm the castle herself, and maybe that would be like, oh, you're trying to interrupt my master time here, or something like that. Like, that's kind of where my mind was at. So to just get this almost like oddly wholesome but kind of disturbing scene where these two are literally bonding over just this figure, and the fact that Rudy's so proud that someone appreciates his cultured work but then gets so disappointed when he removed the mole and then had to like smack sense into him. Absolutely hilarious and so well done. It was just great to see. And I think they did a brilliant job because you don't really look at this guy up until the moment where he's literally holding him by his head as someone who's going to be like, you know, a physical like beast or anything like that. More so, like, I was expecting he'd find a way to get rid of the barrier, but I wasn't expecting him to be that much of a force. So when you're getting the conversation about this prince and they're directing it, and he's just dragging him, the guards are doing nothing. Like, they have their blades drawn, but they're doing nothing. And the fact that it was such an elaborate setup that, you know, even like Ginger, as an example, like, she pretty much planted it so that he would get enthralled by the statue and just everything like that. To see that, you know, you can look at last week and say, you know, Rudy kind of followed the steps correctly, but he did mess up here and there. But it feels like he's always getting into these traps. But the traps always turn the situation into something that works out for him. Had the last trap not happened and he ended up in the cage of the Beast People, he never would have met Best Boy. And Best Boy's the reason a father and son reunited. Here, we get this entire sequence where just everything seemingly works out a lot better, and everything just kind of comes out feeling a little wholesome, yet slightly disturbing, all wrapped up into one. The thing, though, that was actually quite surprising was just the overall idea of just Lilia as well as Aisha and just the situation that occurred there. Because while I had my hunch that because of how intelligent she is, I wouldn't be surprised if she knows Rudy is her brother, I was also completely okay with her just thinking it was a better person. And I wasn't even like contemplating that when she was basically talking about how she wanted to come with Rudy and, you know, one day she'd grow up and she'd have this very sexy body. I mean, I loved it when Rudy like smacked her in the head and disciplined her, saying children shouldn't talk like that. Great moment for him, really showing how far he's come. But the fact that when they're leaving, she says, you know, I'm sorry for calling you a pervert, brother. And I'm like, that was a test for him, wasn't it? That was to see, is he really just a boy who stuffs panties in a box for a keepsake? Or is he someone who will actually, you know, take care of their family? And that was kind of like the final test, it felt like. I love how the mother's even surprised as well. And that sequence where she hugs Rudy and wishes him a happy birthday, showing the kind of amulet necklace that he was supposed to get from Sylphie when it was his 10th birthday, but obviously because of everything that happened, just the fact that that was a keepsake as well. Kind of like breaking down, like for a scene that should have been perverted with panties in a box, they actually made it pretty good with the whole memento and how just keeping something for someone who, you know, sometimes you don't get to pick and choose what you have left of someone, right? And the fact that he gave the headband to his sister, I mean, if he needed any more reason to love this character, I mean, or these characters in general, this was the moment. I love how they kicked off the episode where you got to see it from their perspective fully, because we've seen that sequence where they were looking out and the light was kind of going crazy, but we never saw the full thing, or at the very least, we never saw what happened when they got caught up in the blast. And to see that immediately, when she saw something was wrong, she grabbed her daughter, held on for life, that maternal instinct, and that they ended up in an ocean or a lake, like that has to be terrifying. You get sucked into like a radiation blast, and then you're immediately coughing and gasping for air, and once you're up there, you're worried if your kid's breathing, and then she coughs up water, and just everything like that. I mean, it's one of those things where you realize, like, just, you know, people might have been thrown 100 feet in the air, and if they don't have magic or something to, like, you know, make their fall better, they're gonna splatter and die. Like, you don't know exactly where you're teleported to, and it's pretty frightening. And I mean, it's just crazy to see from that perspective. And it'll be interesting to see if we get to see maybe the other sides as well, eventually whenever we meet back up, or hard to say, but it was really nice to see it in this episode, given the perspectives and what the story was setting up. I mean, this show absolutely gets better every single week, and I know next week is supposed to have a pretty big point that a lot of people have been excited for, that know of the source material, so you know it's going to be a banger of an episode. But episodes like these, I think, are just as good as the big moments, because it really just shows you how far characters have come. And even though it still feels like Rudy in the case of Lilia just kind of like looking and being like, you're still Rudy, he's also clearly changed a hell of a lot, and it was great to see Ares just like really just always gun-ho to go save him or protect those that are close to him. And it's just great to see how far the characters have come, and how Rudyard of all characters knows Rudy will be okay, if so we can go rescue some families first and foremost, and in return that allowed for the families to not be held captive, and, you know, a shitty prince gets to kind of get thrown out of his own kingdom. It's just great. I mean, absolutely love the show. It's hilarious, it's wholesome, it's perverted, it's action-packed, it's absolutely everything you want in a great world and character building series. But let me know your thoughts and feelings, favorite moment, And what do you hope to see with next week's episode if you don't know of the source material? Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.